Hello, everybody. How are you doing
Hi.
today?
Hello.
Hi, Lesh. Hi, Mindy. How are you doing?
Good.
Excellent. Good. Well, welcome
Really
everyone to the.
excited about this project.
Are you? Oh, good. Good.
Mhm.
Well, I'm excited too, and so is Lesh. I'm pretty sure. Keeping Lesh up late because it's 10 p.m. where he is right now.
It's not late
So,
for me, but
well, I would say that's late, but you go. It's past midnight is your normal bedtime. You say so.
mm,
So it's not late at all. Good. That works out well for us because 4 p.m. Eastern time is going to be the regular time for these live casts during the month of October as we celebrate Hacktoberfest. And so this is the inaugural. So this is the inaugural premiere video for that for our event this year. So welcome to everyone. Let's see who we have in the chat. We have Kay, and Kay started us off. Well, she first one to the chat, and she said, "Someone says paper bag on my head." Can't seem to cut code way out of it. Okay, so is there anyone else who's programmers in the audience? We understand that feeling. Yes. But don't worry, it'll get better. There's Jamie, Tommy Buck, and Susan Aubrey, Donna Bauman, Camille, Mike Young, and I'm sure there'll be others who will be joining us. Some might be here but are just shy, so just say hi in the chat. Let us know where you're from and stuff. And there's Mohavelin. How are you doing, Mohavelin? Good to see you. So hopefully some of the people who joined us during the Sourceathon last weekend, during some of those live casts, will join us again. Eric and Omo, Rob Davey is here. Good, excellent, good to see you folks. So, and then we have some regrets from people who couldn't be here live. Chris Whitten himself isn't going to be able to make it, and Aowen isn't for this one, but she's going to be joining us on camera for future ones, and we'll look forward to that. And in future ones, I'm also hoping to get some of the other app developers and people who are working on this project also on camera, but I've got to tell you that many of them are very shy. So they're a little camera shy. So they're fine behind the screens programming and doing lots of fun stuff, but they're not they're not like some of us. So anyways, that's fine. We'll see. But anyways, just to give you a bit of background, if you're unfamiliar with Hacktoberfest, Hacktoberfest is something that's been going on for a number of years. And basically, during the month of October, programmers of different types get together and they do coding projects. And the key thing about them is that the projects are open source codes. And what that means is that people can work together on them, and the results of the codes are available for others to use, most often for free, because that's usually the licensing that is agreed upon. And the benefit of that is that anyone in the world can benefit from the work together and the collaboration, very much in tune with the spirit of WikiTree. So it seems like a natural partnership that we would want to join this project. And so the tech team, Chris Whitten and the tech team, thought that this would be a perfect thing for us to do. And so the focus this year is, for the first time, WikiTree is participating in this open source project. And we have two specific projects that we're going to be working on. One will be to work on what's called the dynamic tree browser. And I'll be showing you some examples of that as we go along. And what that will allow us to do is to program different ways of looking at your family tree. So there already is a dynamic family tree, which allows you to see your family tree, and you can expand it to see grandparents, great-grandparents, and that sort of thing. But other people who have done apps and separate apps are adding their own views to that. So for example, I'm going to be adding a fan chart, and I've already started on that. It's very, very rough and looks really kind of ugly right now. And I'll show you how ugly it is, in fact. And I made it ugly so that other people don't feel bad about what they've done, because most of their other stuff that is done so far just this week looks much prettier than mine. So it's for them that I'm made it this ugly, actually.
You made that great sacrifice, right?
I sacrifice so that you guys would all look good.
Yes, that is so you, Greg.
And we'll go with that story. because I had a paper bag over my head yesterday for 3 hours, and yes, and people in the chat are letting us know that yes, this is not unique. There's lots of open source projects. Kay actually gave an example. The whole Linux operating system, LibreOffice, which is like a Google Docs, Microsoft Office, or similar to that, but it's all open source. So again, you could use it totally free and not have to pay any user fees to some place in the States, some big mega corporation or whatever.
Well, it's not just for use. You can also take the program and add some programming to it to change the behavior, and then use the final result. So you can upgrade existing projects.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Yeah, I hadn't even. I'm relatively new to this whole open source program myself, so that's an excellent point. And then when Alesh improves things and then shares that back onto GitHub or whatever place you share that open source, then other people can take advantage of his brilliance and improve it there, and then someone else improves it, and it's great for everyone. So I talked about the one project is the dynamic tree browser, and people are adding different views. And the other project is a browser extension. And Alesh, do you want to explain what a browser extension does? Just in general terms?
It adds, a browser extension can actually reprogram the page to look slightly different, add various functionality to it without changing the coding on the server. So it's installed in the browser, and I mean, a lot of things can be done with that. We already have 5 or 6 widely used browser extensions for WikiTree, but this is an attempt to actually make them work as a single package, and so the users will have to install only a single extension, and that will be it. And we will also probably take care of some conflicts between the extensions that were happening in the past.
Now, for people who aren't currently or are currently using all the extensions, how many of these existing ones are being wrapped into this one project?
I'm not sure, but I think all of them will be at the end. I think they're already porting parts of their extensions, so I'm guessing all of them, but maybe not. It's up to each person.
Right. Yes. Well, because I mean, programming though, well, just like programming the app, like my fan chart app, the current existing one is massive in terms of the amount of code, and I know some of the extensions are also massive in terms of that. So that's a lot. It's a lot of work to port it over. So, ideally, in the long run, they will all be somewhat there, but we'll see. I don't know.
I really didn't have almost any problem. I ported WikiTree Plus extension to the common one in 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's amazing. I cannot port the fan chart in 20 minutes. I can just tell you that.
Well, it's different there because
it is.
You have to change the API and so on. But for extension, I was really surprised that it was so easy.
That's amazing. Yeah. So Jamie has told us what ones are there currently, and Jamie is sort of one of the tech lead on the extension part. So from the toolkit, WikiTree Plus, and some of the B extension, EMB calls. So that's cool. That's great. So for those who aren't familiar with extensions, as Alesh said, that can sort of rewrite the page. One of the simple extensions, not necessarily a WikiTree one, but one of the first type of extensions that was ever is created often is one that takes the ads out. So it scans a web page, sees where there's an ad, and then just hides that. Basically, ad blockers are,
I don't have that installed.
You don't know what that's. But that's an example of an extension, because it takes the web page in, it analyzes it, and then just changes it. In this case, it hides parts that it thinks you don't want to see. So in most of the WikiTree ones, it's instead of hiding stuff, it's actually giving you extra functionality or extra buttons or reformatting it so it looks differently. So that's kind of the thing. So I was going to start us off and just allow us to introduce ourselves, but I think Alesh and Mindy are familiar. Everyone is pretty much familiar with you two.
I'm Alesh. Nice to meet you.
So next week, when I convince some other people who aren't regulars, I'll get them to introduce themselves and where they're working. But I thought maybe I'm going to start off demonstrating some of the stuff that has gone on, some of the work that has been done with the dynamic family, the dynamic trees. And so I'm going to share my screen. So just to let you know, I'm working from a single laptop. Normally when I livecast, I'm at home and I have 2 extra big monitors on each side of me, because my laptop screen is actually starting to disintegrate. There's an edge along the left and the bottom where the pixels are dead. So I have to make sure my windows are just a little bit smaller. But I was playing for a funeral today at the church and I didn't have time to leave. So this is where I am broadcasting from. So that's the pipes of my pipe organ that I play at. So this is where I am. So if I fumble around, it's because I'm working on a tiny screen in a church that's reverberating. It's got great acoustics here. I don't know if the acoustics are coming across there. But let me just present my screen. Let's see. Okay, yeah, that's the screen I want. Okay, and boom. So now, there we go. Let's go to the regular one. So here is
maximize and zoom in.
What's that?
Zoom in if you can. It's very small.
Is it very small? Oh, okay. Let's see. That's unfortunate. Because is that better?
Okay.
Yeah, that's better.
Increase the share size.
Okay. So this is the dynamic family tree, and maybe I'll just use. There we go, or maybe even higher. So here we are, and so this is one of this is sort of the base one, the base view that comes through, and so this is one that already exists actually on WikiTree in the dynamic family tree. If you go to family trees and tools, this one already exists. The page layout is slightly different because with the project that we're working on, we now have a choice. You can choose what type of view you want to give. And so this is one of the ones that, this is one version of it. It's actually morphed all week. So Hacktoberfest started officially on October 1st, and this is only the 6th day of October. And yet lots of work has already gone on. So you can see there's some here, and there's also some other work that's gone on that hasn't been merged yet with the tree. And a lot of these are still kind of works in progress, so there's going to be some bugs and whatnot. But the way this one works, you just click on a plus sign, and then it expands. It goes up one level. So there's grandparents, great-grandparents, and you go up, and then there's great-great-grandparents, and so on, that sort of thing. And then the other example that was given to us programmers to start with is another version, which just basically looks the same, it's just colored differently. So not very exciting there. Let me go over here. So here's another one that has been added. And this one, I don't know if this has been officially added to the final version or to the current working version or not, or if this is just one that someone has worked on, is the Onontoffel ancestor list. So it gives a list of all the ancestors by generation. And this number in the side is the unique number for each ancestor. So if you're not familiar with the Onontoffel numbering system, every single one ancestor has a unique number. So if you pick anyone, so for example, if I pick Pauline, and her father will be, her number is 3. She is actually my birth mother, and so the Onontoffel number of your mother is 3, and to find her father's number, you double that, so 2 times 3 is 6. So her father will be Onontoffel number 6, which is right there, and then you add that, you get mother, and that system works, and then that gives you a unique number for every ancestor, which is really handy for programmers, because that numbering system is actually what I used when I created my fan chart. So here is, I promised you that I did an ugly fan chart, and so here it is right now. It's very ugly. You see, there it is. There's just, the default just shows me and my birth parents. And you don't even see the whole, you can't even see the fan around it, because I've been so lazy, I haven't even gotten to drawing that yet. And this version of the fan chart, you have to click on the arrows to get 2 more people. So it's suboptimal. There's a lot more work that needs to get done for this. But if I do this enough, then you can sort of see, you can see the shape that it's coming in, right?
We can see the fan.
You can see the fan, right?
Yeah.
And I can tell you, I've got one fun function working, okay? I can change the degrees. Now, these will be replaced by the icons that you would see in the normal fan chart. So here, just to compare ugly to pretty, there is the current fan chart. You see, I've got pictures, I've got names and places and dates, all these lovely things, which you can do in the current version of the app. And these 3 icons here are what eventually will be in the place of the 360 degrees to a 40 degrees thing. But if I click on this, you can see it turns it into the semicircle. If I click on this, it turns it into the full circle. So I've got a lot of work to do still. So obviously I have to draw the whole fan, like the background, the circle and the arcs and all that sort of stuff. That needs to be done. Adding all of this extra information, adding pictures where there are profile pictures. So there's lots of work yet to do. But
Greg, when you're done,
yeah.
Sorry. When you're done with it, is it going to have all the same features and settings that we're used to in your current fan chart?
That's my plan. That's my plan. And that's one of the reasons why this is such an exciting project, because currently this app, all of the code for this app, as I said, it's massive, and it is in a few files, but they're really long. And it's, I mean, it works, but it's a little disorganized. But by doing this open source project, it's forcing me to look at my reasoning and to revisit it and to rewrite it and to put comments in it and to make it a lot more structured. And it also, because I'm making it open source, it also means that other people can help me with it. So when I get to a point where I've got a few more of the structural pieces in place, there are some things that I can ask for help with other people who have volunteered to help out with Hacktoberfest and maybe don't have a project to work on. So for example, this top bar here, which is basically the button bar. So right now it just has those 360 degrees, 240 degrees, the degrees, which basically shows how much of a fan it's going to be. The middle section here, which will eventually be like the middle section here, choosing the number of generations, and then the save and the settings button. Those pieces of it, I can farm out to other programmers so that they can, first of all, make them look pretty, and then I could give each of them little pieces of that logic to fill out. While I work on something that's, say, more complex, I can give some of those things away, and by doing that, we can ideally get to the end result quicker. But it also means other people know how the whole app, how the whole project works, so that you're not always reliant on me. Because even though I'm planning to live to be 100, which is still quite a number of years away.
Yeah, you've got like what, 70 years or so?
Oh, I love it. Not quite 70 years left. I'd like to think that. But the idea is that then this fan chart will live on, well past when I'm still programming, and it'll probably improve all over time. So for me, it's something that it has something been in the back of my head for a while, is that, you know, I really should be able to share this so that it's not just, you're not just relying on one person for this particular app, especially when I've had, you know, lots of positive feedback about the fan chart and people love the fan chart, which is great. But I'll feel better when it's in a safe place and other people can also look after it. So that's kind of the thing that one of the really positive things about this. You know, so I guess one of the questions I have, and I don't have I don't have a poll set up, but the way this one's working, I basically took the original, the dynamic tree, which the way this one works, where you hit the plus sign and you get another pair of ancestors, you hit the plus sign, you get another pair, and you build it up a pair at a time. For the fan chart, the way the regular one works is you get, oh, yeah, it wants to restart it. You build up one whole generation at a time, which to me makes the most sense. But is there, as you can see with this, there's multiple ones. There's different trees, versions of the same app, basically. So this one there's one that's just colored differently, which, you know, you could probably do that with one app and just have an option to change the coloring. But would there be any desire or any interest in a fan chart that builds just, say, one pair of ancestors at a time, or just building a generation at a time, like the default app works currently? Is that the only way that makes sense to you? So I'm just curious because it'd be easy to have two versions of the fan chart, one that builds the way it currently does, one generation at a time, and to have one that sort of works with the way this the current one that I've got, the one that looks ugly right now, and just build it one set of ancestors at a time. So that's one of the questions I have, is this current sort of functionality, is that of any use to anyone, or shall I just scrap that and keep on going to the generational one? Does my question make sense, Mindy?
Move to generational one. For the fan chart, you're interested in a whole generation usually.
Yeah. Okay. That was my feeling too, Alesh. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
You think so too? Okay, then I will make that
And
change.
that's how we're used to looking at it, though. You know, if we're adding in that kind of a format, we do look at the whole generation being added.
Yeah. Good. Let me just show you a couple other things. Let's see what else is here. So I showed you the Onontoffel ancestor list app. That's I think Steve was working on it, but I should have written that down. Steve has worked on a number of different timelines. So Steve Harris. And so this is the profile timeline, and this was a standalone app that he released just a couple months ago, and he has added this view to the dynamic tree. So you see whoever the profile person is, it shows their birth, and then all of the related, their siblings, children, parents, any events that are related to them. It shows that as you go along. And then he also has, he's worked on a location timeline, which is kind of boring for me because it just has my birth and my marriage location. But if I were to type someone else in, if I can remember someone else's, let's see what that one does. Yeah, maybe not. That was not the right one. Oh well, let me go back to me again. There we go. And then he also has done a chronology chart, which is pretty cool because that shows all of those same people who were in the timeline view. It shows their lifespan, so you can sort of compare their lifespan. So you can see both of my birth parents there, obviously alive before I was, and then the rest of my family there. And if I would be, so that's those are some other views that are coming soon. So that's the progress so far with the dynamic family tree and things that we're working on. Eventually, we are going to need people to test things, and we're only in the very first week. So if many, like myself, for example, I believe many of our developers are still in the early stages and aren't quite ready for that testing. But if you volunteered to be part of this project, then you will have been given access to the Discord channel. And then when you go to your WikiTree and choose Hacktoberfest, then you can see all the chat that's going on there. And we will, when we're looking for testers and we have something specific that we want you to test out, we will post a message here in the Discord. Probably put it in G2G as well, or link to one of the other posts that are in G2G. But when we need help, we'll ask for it, and hopefully all of those who have volunteered will help. And in our next live cast next Thursday, I suspect there will be some apps that will be at the point where we'll be looking for some direct feedback, and you can provide that in the comments, or you can test things out and then get back to us. So I'll have more details for that later. Well, I think I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now, and maybe Alesh, do you want to show off some of the stuff that you've done with the browser extension?
Yeah. Okay. Probably I should first explain, or I can do that at the end, how to install the new WikiTree browser extension, because it's not on the market. Google, it's not in Google Store, so you cannot just install it like other extensions. But well, I can show it now. So.
Okay.
So first you have to get the extension from the GitHub. So you go to github.com/wikitree, and here are WikiTree dynamic tree and browser extension projects. So you can go into, if you select WikiTree browser extension, you can. So this is for people who will not program it, actually, since you only need a copy of the extension. So you can click here on the code and click download zip. So it packs whole extension to a zip file, which you unpack on your computer, and then you only need to add it to Chrome. So to do that, you need to go here in Chrome to extensions. Where are they? Here. And first thing you have to do is you have to turn on developer mode. And then you get these additional buttons, and here you have a function load unpacked. And you can select the folder where you unpack the extension, and that's basically it. So it will this one will show up, and you can turn it on or off. So this is how to put it on your computer. Now the programmers that are familiar with GitHub, and if you intend to program, then you need to make a new branch, copy it to your computer, develop, and then you will occasionally post to the main code.
Now, Alesh, if we're testing the browser as you guys are working on it, do we need to disable all of those other extensions?
Well, I was working. It's good to disable the other extensions because it can be confusing from which extension some function is. So you can. I did today. I disabled all other installed WikiTree extensions, and so it's only now I only see the new one on the page. Then after you install the extension, first thing you need to do is go to options here, and all these options are initially deselected. So these are already functionality that were added to extension, and you can each of them can be turned on or off depending on what you want. So you have to slowly turn them on and test them and see if that's what you need. Now we can show a few of them. Some are hard to find, but I did find quite a few of them. So one is printer-friendly bio. So here we got a new menu, and here you can, if you want to print the profile, this is then it reformats the page slightly and make it easy, nicer to print on paper. So because you don't need all the things that is around, you just need the content usually. Then a few options are added to the find menu that I found. For instance, I think this random profile is one of them. So it just takes us to a random profile, and we can see if something needs to be done there or so. So this is a common function on Wikipedia, and so someone programmed it here also.
Is that a random person on your watch list, or just random in all of WikiTree?
No, it's not on watch list. It's on WikiTree.
Oh wow, that's really random then.
Well, one of the 30 million. Then another one, I think, is...
There's the apps category at the top there.
Yes, this is one, but there is another one.
Drafts.
Drafts, I think, is a new one. This one looks, if you have any drafts open, so that is a profile that you were editing and wasn't saved. So this is very useful to check if you have some unfinished business on profile writing. So I think these two are added here. Then it's an app sub menu where I think all the WikiTree, all existing applications are listed. So I think all of them, but this just opens the application. So is this yours? No.
Oh, and it does populate your name in there too. That's good.
Yeah, because this is all happening in the WikiTree domain. So your login is more or less automatic.
Nice.
That's good part of extension and also of the dynamic tree. You don't have to log in again, I think. So these are prepared applications that were, I think all the applications are listed here. Then I think in the options, I also saw space page preview. So if you have a space page, let's go to my profile. Here. I think I have, so here is a space page, for instance, and it just pops out, and you can see the page here without even clicking on it.
Nice.
So that's one of the extensions that I noticed.
And I think there's one that does that for sources too, right? If you have inline sources and you hover over the number. I don't know if you wouldn't have any sources on your own, maybe.
Probably not.
You know, the inline ones that have they're just a little number in the middle of the bio.
It doesn't work on Slovenian sources. That's probably something. Well,
I think it has to be the inline ones, not the ones in the sources, but up in the bio.
Inline in the narrative.
Yeah, you're
You know what I
right.
mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Right, let's go to Janis.
There, the number 3. Yeah, if you hovered over this, no, up the 3 in the middle.
Top. Okay.
The little, the number, like the
Yes,
number in
you
the square
get
bracket. There you go.
from below. All right, it works. But I think some of the extension disabled the preview on these links.
Yes.
But I wasn't able to identify which one.
Okay. So that's a bug we have to nail down. It's a work in progress.
Okay, and then we have these are extensions from other people that I was able to identify and notice what they are doing. And then also is I have WikiTree Plus extension, that's mine, which is intended for editing templates and some other stuff. So I don't know, do we have a template here? Nope, not on this page. We can go to for instance, we can go to oh, there is another one that no, it's not here. This is a new option. This is also one of the add-ons, family timeline. Here, it's a button is added here, and you can
nice.
see events in the life of Janis. So this is a point with extensions. They can mask in existing page, so you don't even notice it's not part of original page.
Yeah, that's happened to me on the Saturday livecast before I had an extension enabled, and I think Sarah was saying, "Why have you got that button on your page? I don't have that button on my page. Where'd that come from?" And at the time, I didn't realize. I don't know why. It's just there. You open that up, and it's there. And then I forgot. Oh, I turned on this one extension. That's what it came from.
So my extension is mainly for editing templates. It has so you can go to a template. So this is category info box for cemeteries, and you just go to edit template, and it retrieves all the fields. Also offers all the other fields that exist on the and are not present in the extensions, and you can just fill the data in. So we add the space page, and now it's here.
Nice.
Then
now, if you didn't know what the name of the template was to start with,
yes, you also have. So this drop-down menu is different depending on the page where you are on. So since we are now on category page, it has a special menu, add category info box, and you have here all the category info boxes that can be used on categories. So we can add category info box cemetery, and you come to the empty forum and fill out the data. It also has other goodies. So for instance, for instance, we have here find a grave ID. So we can click the open link, and it opens the find a grave page in another tab, and you can then see if that's correct one and so on. And it works two ways. So you just for instance copy the complete URL, And then if you paste here, it will just take the part of the URL that it needs. So just the number.
Very
Same
smart.
for Wikidata ID. So we can, so for instance, we will now paste this page, Bionic River, for instance, and just select and paste. And it pastes the new. It works also for space pages, categories, and every other type of pages. So we can have a look of this category and go. So it's easy to check all the links. You can also check the location and so on. Also, this location is adjusted. So if you take the location from Wikidata, it is always written in such format. And you just copy this and you can paste in this field, and it will convert it into the correct format for coordinates on WikiTree.
That's going to be really helpful.
You can also add images here and so on. So you can also jump to the template definition here, and it is actually this definition. This definition is used from web pages on what is in each template, and also description and everything. So here on question mark, it also writes out what should be done with, what should be entered in this field. So this is one way of adding. Then you can also add, okay, for on categories, edit bot instructions are also added automatically, so you can rename category to something else, update, and it enters the instruction for edit bot on what to do. Then these are other useful templates for cemetery, like also known as, where you can define different languages. It has also drop downs. So we have here, these values are
for the languages.
So you can use one of these, or you can enter like Sweden. Sweden is there, but
SB.
It's in Spain.
Yeah.
French. Okay, French is not. Oh, it is. And you can also add any template, and you get a template selector. So here all 500 templates are in. You can limit the search to stickers, for instance, and let's say Quakers. Okay, we already have the one that we need. Or if we don't limit ourselves to stickers, we get the project template and the sticker. Or unsourced.
Nice.
Okay. So external links, you get all the external links, template, and so on. Also the status of the template and the group, and so. So this is for editing templates. This is so we can so for find the grave. No. Find the grave. Select. We get the box to populate. We can say same as yes, no, and these are deprecated, so they are visually marked as not to use.
Right.
Update, and it inserts the template to where the cursor is. Here are also some format parameters is just to reformat the template if it's ugly aligned, so you can just click format parameters and it lines up everything, so it looks good. And this automated correction is another useful things that where I programmed everything that EditBot does. So it changes all the ancestry links to the new ones, or actually now to templates since they are available. It also changes find a grave links to template and other removes the font and so on. I mean, really a lot of things.
That's amazing.
That are done. So now if you go to a profile, let's go to some profile. So on profiles, the drop-down, here the selection is slightly different. Some options are still here. Some are changed or added. Okay, let's see automatic corrections here. Okay, it only found multi-spaces and it can change them to single spaces. So, because often people use 2 or 3 spaces. But it corrects quite a few things. I think I have it somewhere written what all that it corrects. We also have here options to paste sources. So you just paste the URL, for instance. We have to find the same some grave. View memorials. Come on. Okay, so we can copy the URL, and here we paste the URL, and it gets reformatted to a template.
Wow.
That is nice.
We can also so for find a grave, I also supported the source citation. So you just copy this citation in and paste source, paste it in the upper window, and in the lower one you get it changed with template instead, and so on. So
that's a time saver.
And
so it keeps all the other information, but yes, it just changes that URL.
Yes, well, in the past I also removed the find the grave.com. They have just this URL. Now there was some discussion if this is needed, so now I'm leaving it in.
Sure.
Yeah, and those are changes we've been doing manually. Like we've been going in
I
and adding a template.
I just copy paste.
I did.
And you click select and it pastes where you have the cursor, or you can just move it to the location where you want.
So Chris in the chat put in this comment that he should probably get around to putting in the find a grave tags like that. So if he's copied it, this is already text that's in his profile. Does your extension reformat it properly? If it's already there?
No.
You know what I mean?
Yes, no. But if it is really, I know what you mean, and it doesn't. Actually, if it would be from today, it would. But if it's a few months old, it doesn't, because the citation changed over the time. But for the URL, it does. Although URL,
he could just copy it. He could copy it and then put it inside that box, the pop-up box, and then it would convert it.
But for instance, if you have just the URL like this, this might get changed. So let's check it. Automated corrections, and it found find the grave URL. It will be changed to the template.
Well, there you go, Greg.
Let's see. Look, there it is. See, Chris,
There
how
you
easy
go.
that was? There you go.
And not just that it changed it, it also added the edit comment.
Oh my goodness. And does it make a snack too? First?
It brings
Yes,
popcorn.
yes, but you must be in Ljubljana for that.
Uber Eats delivers. Wow.
Okay, so this is, I also had here the other, here you were able to start other applications that were like BioWriters and so on. But
Other
probably
sources,
now
yeah.
this will be removed since they will all get integrated here, most likely.
Right. Very
Now,
cool.
Lynette has a question real quick. She's asking, when are these extensions going to be part of WikiTree proper?
Well, Evelyn, that's a good question. Well, I think the plan is, so Hacktoberfest lasts for all of October. And I believe at the end of October, there will be a grand reveal. The dynamic tree is going to go live. And whether that's the very end of October, like Halloween, or it may actually be something that's revealed on WikiTree Day in November 5th, I believe it is, right?
4th and 5th?
So, and then as for the browser extension, I'm not sure if that's following the same timeline or not. I suspect it
most
probably
likely
is.
not, because with the extension, it's a problem with publishing. You have to publish it, and then Google takes a few days to verify it, and later it gets published, not instantly. So it will probably take a little bit longer.
So we're at the mercy of an external force for the extension then.
Yes, well,
basically.
we can be grateful for that, because that way there are no hacks in the extensions, so we can be pretty much safe with them.
Right. There we go. Excellent. Thank you, Jamie. Jamie's been in the chat all this long, and she's been helping and correcting things. I've noticed. So, for example, I think I credited the wrong person with the Onontoffel table. I think I may have said it was Steve, but apparently that was Brian. Sorry, Brian, for that. But Steve has joined us, and he said he has merged the profile timeline and the chronology chart into the extension, into the dynamic tree. So I was showing you a preview or a pre-preview of it that he had been working on, like a draft version. So Stephen, you were probably working on this while I was demonstrating that. So so I did show them that work that you had done, and now it's going to be part of the other. And we had discovered that it was the inline sources that has that preview. So thank you for that. And you know what? I was going to show one more thing. Let me just get this. There we go. So there've been a number. I was saying, like, we're only 6 days into Hacktoberfest, but we already have a lot of people who have done stuff. And so at noon, and this list might be more at noon, these are the people who have actually contributed and published some of the work that they've already done. So on the extensions, Alesh obviously showed you all the amazing stuff that he's done with the extension. Jamie, who's the lead, has also been
done in this week. This is
no. Well,
this was done over the years, but
yes, that's right. But you added it to the extension this week, so take the credit. Steve Harris has also worked on some of the extension part, and Ian Bacall has also been working on that. He's been adding some from his B extension into the browser extension. And on the dynamic views, I did put my picture up there. I've already told you, my fan chart is so ugly, it's hardly worth a picture anyways. But Brian, who's sort of the tech lead on that, has been doing a bunch of stuff. A lot of stuff in the background there. Stephen Harris has just mentioned, he's just added some of those, the profile, the timelines, the chronology. Jeff Riley has contributed, and Michal Vachut has also been doing some work. And his stuff, a lot of the work he's been done is sort of in the background in some of the formatting and tightening up some of the code. Refactoring is the official word for some of the stuff that he's been doing, which benefits us all. So, and there are other programmers that have also been working in the background, doing some coding and some reviewing. K Knight, who's online here, has been doing some of that, and others. So, and in the coming weeks, I hope to profile some of these other developers, ideally entice some of them to come and join us online and be part of this live cast. So now I just have to find the right screen again so I can turn off my screen sharing. Oh, look at that. That looks pretty. Anyways, lots of good stuff has been happening. And as I say, it's only 6 days into Hacktoberfest, and already some things are coming together, and you can sort of see the potential of some of the others. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Mindy, do you have any thoughts about what you see? Is there some things that you're thinking are missing, or what you'd like to see
missing? But they did raise a good question as far as how do we ask for features that we would like to see added? Is that going to be in the G2G, or?
I think the G2G is like, if they're not already a member of the Hacktoberfest, like if they haven't registered, if they're not one of the testers, then yeah, anyone's welcome to any of the posts, the Hacktoberfest G2G posts, either the original one, or even you could add a comment to the video, the livecast video post that I made a couple days ago. Any of those ones that have the Hacktoberfest tag on it. If you have features or questions or comments, yeah, add it there.
And then do all of these other extensions go away? You know, we currently have a number of extensions that we can use and individual help pages for that. But now if it's all going to be put together, do we just have one big help page?
That's an excellent question. I'm not sure the logistics of how that's going to work, especially since the browser extensions are, not having programmed apps and not a browser extension. To me, they seem a little bit, there's a little more deep magic involved in those. So I think that'll be more difficult combining all of them together. So I don't know. There's also the apps themselves. Like some of the apps lend themselves nicely to a dynamic view because they're basically a view of your tree, your ancestors, your descendants, or your family. But there are some apps like the DNA confirmation app, for example, that's used to put together a DNA source citation. It's not really a family view. And I'm not sure if it would fit in an extension because it opens up a whole new page. You have to fill out a bunch of stuff. So there's still some apps that, and the K Knight's biocheck app, again, is another one of those that I'm not sure where they land. If there's a third place where apps that work alongside WikiTree.
That would be best fit to the edit page because there is where you need it.
The edit page, yeah.
So yeah. There you can open the dialog like I do for templates and fill in the data and paste the code back to the edit box. So that would be the best place to fit
in. I'll have to think about that one. Okay. So.
Well, all editing related things should go on edit page. I mean, it is possible. It just needs to be done.
Okay. Oh, good point. Yes. Okay. Davenport had made a comment there. What was it? I just missed it now. Oh, I know what it was. You were talking about changing the spaces. And Davenport said, it took me years to break. I still hit do spaces after every period. I cannot stop myself. So I need that extension.
Well, you can install also it. You can install it today from the store. It's still WikiTree Plus. The functionality is for now the same, but it will get slightly changed, I think, during the month.
So Kay has a suggestion there that the end user documentation. I mean, that's important too, so that it's accurate, but also makes sense to non-programmers. So that new WikiTreeers and can make sense of it as well. So
Well,
There's
yeah, and it
lots of
is all
flexibility.
about collaboration. So there's
It's
somewhere that the testers can get in there and help you out with.
exactly. Well, thank you very much for coming. Any last words? We're at the hour mark now, so I wasn't sure we could stretch it out, but I should have known.
There's
Between
so
Alesh
much.
and
I
me.
mean, I'm really excited. I really am excited because I love these extensions that I already use, and now you guys are. It's like you're giving us presents. We get even more.
That's
Well,
great.
Mindy was talking all the time, so time flies by.
I know. I just carried on and on and on.
Oh my goodness. Oh well. Well, thank you
Come back
for
and
coming.
see us next week, everybody.
See us next week, and I'll give you updates on what's been happening, what's been improved, and probably then we'll have some questions for you on, where we've got this far with this dynamic view, or done this with the this extension, and what should we go? Where do we go next, and that sort of thing. So that'll be exciting. So see you next week.